Hey, what's up, cash flow hackers? It's Chris with Life 180. In today's video, we're going to be covering group life insurance. Is it enough for you, ultimately? I get a lot of people that have been setting up calls with our team that have been having the questions and statements about the fact that, hey, I've already got group coverage. This is how much I have. Is it enough? Why do I actually even need more life insurance? And so I'm going to kind of unpack all this. Now, before I go any further, just to get my self-conscious out of the way, I gotta let you know, this is the first video I've filmed in, I don't know, 10 days or so. I know probably you haven't noticed because I've had a lot of videos in the can, so to speak, that were prepped and ready to go. So they kind of filled the spot while I was sick, but I just got over really nasty bout with the flu. And so if you hear it in my tone, my sinuses, I'm on antibiotics and steroids right now just to kind of get me through this. But it's coming around, so we're gonna make this work. So anyway, let's get into this, because this video, this concept, this topic is something that strikes pretty near and dear to my heart. If you've watched this channel for any period of time, you've heard the story that I share about my best friend who ended up passing away. I tried to get him to get his own coverage outside of his group coverage that he had with this company. Typically, you can get group coverage with your company for a multiple of your income, maybe a couple times your income in really good situations. In that case, a lot of people are like, well, why do I need more than that? Especially for higher income earning people. You know, you got $300,000 income or $250,000 income. If you can get $500 to a $750 to $1 million of death benefit, that sounds like it'd be really, really good. The challenge is a couple fold here. So think about it this way. Your insurability is never going to be better than what it is right now. And so the reality is, as you go through life, when you're working this job, what I can tell you is that I know that the statistics say that the job that you're in right now is not going to be the job that you're in long term. It's not going to be your forever job, right? Like, you're probably going to switch positions, switch companies, switch something in your life. And so when you think about it from that perspective, if you're going to switch positions, if you're going to switch companies, and then you lose that benefit, well, what happens if anything changes in your new job and you don't have the group coverage included? Maybe they don't give you that benefit. Maybe even if they do, maybe your health rating declines over the next 5 to 10 years, between now and when you go to get your next job. There's things to think about that, to me, when it comes to something like life insurance, should not be looked at as a need-based product. It should be looked at as a want-based product, right? Like, this is a product that you're buying that's going to be solving a multitude of desires that you have to be solved in your life. And so from that perspective, we can't look at it through the lens of, like, what do I need? This is not, I guess I'll put it like this. When you look at group coverage and looking at that amount, you're kind of looking at life insurance like you look at auto insurance. Like, okay, I know I need it, I've got it, I'm just gonna get the minimum I have to get for what I need. And I guess I could even argue with auto insurance, it's probably not the best idea to get the minimum you need. But with life insurance, you want to make sure that you control a lot of the variables that are going to be implemented to you accomplishing what your goals are. So think about it this way. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to my board here. So let me just do this. All right. So I'm going to go to the board, and what I want to do is I want to basically say, okay, so you have your insurance. So right now you have, we'll just call it group insurance. So let's just say you're making $100,000 a year, right? Is income. So I'll just income. My brain's still not firing 100%. So $100,000 a year of income. And so let's say that the company would give you 3x income. So you go, and I can't tell you how often I see this, $300,000 of life insurance, right? So that is your death benefit policy, is $300,000. Now, what happens is, if you leave your job, you wind up losing this coverage. right? Because the company stops paying for it, you lose that benefit. Now, if 7 years goes down the road and your health declines, you're not going to be able to have that. Now, here's the deal. Let's just talk about, is this enough? Because a lot of people go, oh, well, I already have life insurance. Stop thinking about what you need. Start thinking about what you want. So $100,000 of income, right? I would ask, how many kids do you have? You know, I would ask, what does your spouse work? What would it take to make sure that if you passed away, that there would not be a gap, there would not be a financial bump? Obviously, there's going to be plenty of emotional things that are happening in life and challenges that happen for your family if anything happens to you. But the goal with insurance is to make sure that what you want to happen will happen when you want it to happen, whether you're here to see it or not. And so when you look at it from that perspective, the goal here is to make it so when you get the insurance, that money is enough money to make it so your family is never going to miss a beat in your absence, right? You're able to basically self-actualize what your goals and objectives are on this earth when you're passed on, right? Like that's a really, really powerful thing. So my question for you is, if you have $100,000 a year of income, right? Like what does it take to replace that, right? Like what does it take to actually get your spouse and your kids, like, because like, look at it this way. Like, okay, you have your income. Let's say you're a single household and you're the breadwinner, and maybe your family really relies on that $100,000. And then you have kids, right? Let's say you have 3 kids like I do. And they're looking, you got school, sports, travel, like excursions, field trips. When they go to college, they got like internships and doing all these different things going all over the place if they want to do that, right? So to me, I'm looking at this and I go, okay, what do I want my kid's life to look like? If I'm here and if nothing bad happens to me and I'm here and I'm living my life, what role do I want to play in my kid's life to make sure that all this is accounted for? Maybe I want to help them start a business, right? Maybe I want to help them do something else, but the bottom line is this all does what? It takes money, right? Now, if I'm here, I know that I can help make that happen, right? And I'm going to leverage my resources and my time. So I want to make sure this is what we call human life value, right? Like if your human life value is not just this $100,000 that you're making, it's also the value that you're bringing to your family. And so what we need to be thinking about is not thinking about like, oh, I just want some multiple of my income, because a lot of times people would follow Dave Ramsey in that instance and say, I just need 10 times my income. If I make 100 grand, I just need $1 million of life insurance and that's going to cover it. It's not even nearly close enough to what you probably want. Maybe it would be sufficient for what you need to make sure that your family isn't on the streets and, you know, doesn't have to sell the house and take a huge step backwards, but it's not going to help actualize what the goals are that you want your life, the life of your kids to be like when they're growing up, as they're aging and as they're maturing, right? And so to me, that's what this is about. It's not how much you need, it's about how much you want. And so when you look at it from that perspective, then we have to break that down, and you have to break it down and say, okay, each kid, what is the cost per kid, right? And you got to come from that perspective. And if you can look at it from cost per kid and you say, okay, the cost per kid is going to be, I want to put about $300,000 into each kid. And I got news for you, that $300,000 between college, starting a business, doing something of that nature is going to go fast. So I got news for you, that's $900,000 just right there, just in kids. And then I have, okay, just to pay my bills and make sure my spouse is good to go, I need to be able to have $100,000 of income. Now, if we go back and you go back to my Understanding Your Money series and you understand the 4% rule, well, we need $2.5 million using the 4% rule to be able to pull that money out safely, right? Just to get to $100,000 a year of income, right? And that's safe, right? So we need, just with these two things to accomplish everything, right here, we need $3.4 million, right? Think about that. That's like so different than the way that people are taught. So the question is, why do you not want group life insurance? Is because it's the quality, is not going to be what you want. Even if you can get it and you're paying for it, a lot of times the company will pay for it. A lot of times you'll just get guaranteed insurability, you know, and you'll get the group rating. You're going to pay more. So what happens is if you're a healthy person, that's not a good deal for you. You probably, if you're paying for it out of pocket, you'd probably just want to decline the group coverage or get it for a short period of time until you can go get your own personal coverage outside where you'll get it cheaper. Now, if you're not healthy and you can get group coverage, then take advantage of everything that you can get, even if it costs you a little more money, even if it's out of pocket. You got to do it. You got to take advantage of it and do that. But chances are, regardless of where you fall in that spectrum, you're going to be underinsured if you go through a group policy. You're never going to be able to meet the needs. And I think most people earning $100,000 a year are not going to have anywhere near $3.4 million. But I got news for you. When you start thinking about why you want it, you're going to realize how important it is. Now, the other thing that I would say behind this is that it's going to solve a lot of other needs. A lot of other people think that you need an emergency fund. And so I would say if you design this properly, you can kind of get your dollars performing more than one function. So you can get the 3.4 mil of insurance, right? Which is great. But you can also have a savings account inside of this for emergency fund. Savings for emergency, right? So you can do that inside of the policy. And what would happen is you're going to have a portion of the policy is going to be whole life and a portion of the policies are going to be term because you're not going to be able to probably want to go straight up $3.4 million of death benefit for whole life insurance because it would be cost prohibitive. So you want to make sure that you design the whole life for maximum cash value, and then you want to supplement the rest with term, right? And if you do that, I promise you, whatever you do, you're going to find that what's going to happen is you can ladder this out, and over a 10-year period of time, you can't say that you're getting free insurance because that's not how it works. But at the end of the day, you're going to have more cash value for the whole life insurance than you actually contributed to it. And you're going to have liquidity use and control of that money. You can utilize it for an emergency fund. It's going to grow to even more money, right? And what's going to happen is you could then start to convert some of this term to more whole life insurance as your cash flow maybe gets better and you have a need for more. Or maybe as your kids age and you maybe need less or desire less because you've kind of done this and you've taken care of the $900,000 and that need, that liability, so to speak, is not on your plate anymore. And so maybe you look at that and you go, okay, I don't need as much insurance. Maybe you still want it. Maybe you don't. That's totally up to you. And this money that you have in this account, you can utilize for other things. Maybe you earmark it for emergency at first, and maybe after that, it goes over to an opportunity fund, right? And I'll just write opportunity fund, right? So, and if you do that, listen, that's where, at the end of the day, that's why I call this a self-completing plan, because you start off with the principles of saving before investing. You start off with protection, getting your family taken care of. And then what happens is as you go through life and life changes, this is a very flexible vehicle that you can leverage and utilize in different ways. And so in doing that, what I would say is, let me see here. There we go. So what I would say to that is, when you start to realize how powerful and how flexible this is, and you start to realize, like, when I have my insurance with my group provider, with my company, I don't have control over that. I don't have control over the variables of one of the most important things in my life, which is making sure that my family's going to protect it whether I'm here or not, right? Making sure that what I want to happen will happen when I want it to happen, whether I'm here to see it or not. You can't lock that in with your group coverage. And even if you have the insurance locked in, it's probably not near the amount that you want. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to engage with anything that you have. Hopefully you found this valuable. If you are somebody that just has group coverage and you're looking to expand and get more than that, I encourage you to reach out and have a conversation with one of our coaches, because I'm telling you right now, This is the thing that I see more than anything, is people believing that they're insured because they have insurance at all, right? Because they have group coverage, they think they're covered, when in fact, nothing could be further from the truth. So anyway, I hope you found this valuable. If you haven't already, subscribe, hit the bell, that way you're notified every time I launch a new video. Until next video, have a blessed, inspirational day. We'll talk soon. See ya.